Well, hello and welcome to the Super Connector Show, where I'm delighted to be joined by Mike Bell, who is the creator of the Reset Journals and also the Unlock Key Potential projects. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very good. Delighted to be doing
Thanks
this
very
with
much
you.
anyway, by the way, for this. I really appreciate it to be able to get this message out there. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. Well, it's you've done something really special, I think, and really resonates with me. So I'm keen to help you get the message out. So I'll hold it up here. I am the proud owner of the Reset Journal. The I think it's a Gastor Green edition that I've got.
you. We've got you.
Yeah, you've got 8 different editions of this. But do you want to tell us a bit about what it actually is and why you created it?
Yeah, I think what it is, mate. The thing about the reset is it's something that majority of your listeners are probably already dealing with right now. Like running a business when you've got a million different things going on, all at the same time. It's really difficult to sort of focus on that one thing. I started creating the Reset Journal about 18 months ago, but it was never in no sort of order. Um, so for me, it's like the reset is set up for a daily alignment. You start the beginning of the reset with a 90-day goal, and then once you've set your 90-day goal and where you would like to be in the next 90 days, what we do then is we have steps so that each day you'll have a small step that will take 3 to 6 minutes to complete,
Mhm.
and do one in the morning and then finish it on an afternoon for the reflection. And then you'll have a weekly reflection point to see how that week went, what could have changed, how you responded to certain things. And then following that, then that would then go on to the next 30 days. And then you would have another reflection point, and then that would then continue exactly the same pattern to try and sort of focus on the key things. So there's 3 core principles. One of them is the E plus R equals O, which I'm sure we're going to talk about right now. And the other one is the 80-20 principle. These things obviously I've not invented. These are just things that obviously I've learned from reading certain books or learning from certain individuals, that these things have helped me stay guided and to keep just not myself, but like other customers, other people who I've worked with, to try and keep people on the same track, focusing on just one thing at a time.
Yeah, no, I love that. And well, you've said the word a few times there, but it really does resonate with me. The word focus, clarity and focus, because I've realized over the years I've done lots of really good things. Like I'm really proud of what I've done. Like I have achieved some like big goals that I've done. But ever since I was at school, I've just had too many ideas, and sometimes I've struggled to focus,
Yeah.
and not just on what I want to do, but external events or external demands on my time where um, it's easy to get thrown off course and pulled into other people's situations or doing things for other people. And so at the end of last year in particular, I was like, right, okay, in 2026, the big word for me is focus. Like I know what I want to do, and these are the handful of things that I'm going to do. And I say often to people, clients as well, you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want
Yeah, yeah.
because there's only so many hours in the day. So why is that important to you? Why do you what made you want to do something about this?
I think for me, mate, is that since I was a kid, and I explain this inside of the journal as well. But when I was a kid, I was always that kid of curiosity. I always wanted to take things to bits to understand how things work. It's always been the same. That curiosity has never ever changed. The problem is that when your brain works in that way, you've got a million things that you're trying to complete, and you end up you end up doing that many different things at the same time. You never actually complete anything.
Mhm.
And a lot of the things that helped me stay focused was if I'm working on a client's website or working with a client, then because their project is more important than my thoughts, it helps me to be able to stay within sort of a realm. But when I'm doing things on my own and I'm like a magpie. I'm literally
Mhm.
looking at a million different things all at once. And
Mhm.
I think that this is the reason why I created the reset. There's like these frameworks that's in the reset, the E plus R equals O and the 80-20 principle. These things help me stay aligned and help me just sort of focus on what's in hand and what's important for that day. Uh,
Mhm.
Nothing else is important, just because if I've got a million things that's important, then nothing's important. So it just helps me stay grounded with that. If that was the main reason.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's a strength and a weakness, isn't it? Because if you are interested in lots of things, you can absorb a lot of information probably faster than other people can, and your broad interests mean that you can spot opportunities. I think that's definitely helped me over the years. I'm interested in pretty much everything, but yes, it can mean that you start things, you don't always finish them, or you don't, or you're just spinning too many plates all at once, and it's tiring. It's very exhausting, and if you're tired, you can't do your best work necessarily, or you can only do it for a certain period of time before you need to take a complete break, or you just can't do anymore. So
I think the other thing is, as well, is you don't feel a sense of achievement. You don't feel a sense of a goal or anything. So when you're just doing when you've got like a million different projects, or you're doing like lots of different things all at the same time, and you're not really completing anything, you're focusing your energy on the wrong things. And at the end of it all, you feel dissatisfied because you feel as if you haven't achieved anything in that day. And again, it's just like, I think that's for me, that's the most important. You've got to feel like you're achieving a value or giving a value, whether you're working for somebody else or you're doing it yourself. You need to feel valued. If you don't feel valued, it all becomes pointless.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the other things. That's why I know it will help other people who think exactly in the same way.
Yeah, I know that definitely. Like, obviously, I'm self-employed. I've got my own business, and I help a lot of people start their own business as well. And one of the best things about being self-employed is not having a boss telling you what to do. But that's also one of the worst things. You don't have someone telling you what to do, and you can waste a lot of time on things that aren't important, aren't getting you closer to where you want to be. So
we all have a boss, I suppose. Like, even when we're self-employed, even when we're self-employed, we still have a boss, whether that's a client or whatever.
Clients, you do have bosses.
Still have a boss. Yeah, it's just like, and that project, whatever it is that you're taking on, you've still got to answer for certain things, like certain steps within that project. But yeah, it does become more difficult, I suppose, when you're in a situation where you are self-employed. You don't have somebody bring down your neck saying, "Mike, when is this going to be ready for?" You said that will be Monday.
Yeah, so you don't have necessarily have
your own guidelines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I think even an artist has like the edges of a canvas. You've still got to.
Yeah, you've got to stay
within some parameters, and there are certain rules about what makes something look good and doesn't look good. So yeah, I think that's having the daily structure, which is all feeding back to your goals and being very intentional about what you're doing is really valuable. So tell us a bit more about the 80-20 rule, because I've heard, is this the Pareto principle? Is that?
That's right. Yeah. So basically, with that, I think the majority of us, we concentrate on the things that don't really actually make a difference, because we naturally, as humans, we concentrate on the things we enjoy, right? And we forget about the things that we don't really enjoy too much. And when you're running a business or you're running a project or whatever, is that majority of us like the bits that we enjoy, but all of the other bits we seem to like sort of push to the back of our mind. And that principle is that 20% of your efforts contribute to 80% of your results, and the majority of us do it the other way around. And I think that having that principle works in all different aspects of life, whether it's a relationship or whether it's your business or whether it's just sport or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. Just applying that 80-20 principle is a proven principle that's worked, and a lot of people stick by it. A lot of people know about it, and there's a lot of people who don't. And even to this day, like, obviously when I speak about it, like when I tell somebody about it who doesn't know about the 80-20 principle, I'm like, how do you not know about this? How do you not know and understand this? But I suppose it's one of the things, isn't it? If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, if no one's ever took the time to tell them, or maybe they've just not been curious about it, and maybe they've stumbled upon it, but a lot of people haven't, and they're just stumbling through life or through work and not knowing how they could be more productive or more effective and happier in what they're doing. So you've written down, well, I've scribbled it down. You've already alluded to it, like roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions.
Yeah.
And you wrote in your journal, every day there's one action that matters more than the rest. So find out what that is. Yeah. Spot on.
What is that? Like, what is that today? Do you know, like, even like, obviously I've got my goals for today, because obviously, in fact, it was going to be one of the things I was going to do is I was going to run like sort of a live 90-day, like a live 90-day sort of reflection of myself, my own sort of goals. And the thing about it though is, I suppose the reset could be private. Not everybody wants to know, or you don't want to share whatever your goals are. But the reason why I was going to do it is because when you go onto Amazon and you're looking for journals, maybe the reset won't stand out, because the actual cover, the reset has been made in a way that I wanted it to be discreet. I didn't want it to be stand out. I didn't want it to be bright red or yellow or have big images on there. It needed to be discreet and it needed to look right. And that's why the colours, each 8 of the colours has all been chosen exactly like that, in that way. And I think for me is that's what sets it apart from some of the other journals. The only thing is that, like I said, when you go onto Amazon and you're looking for journals, you normally see majority of the ones are black cover with white writing, or black cover with silver writing, or whatever. They stand out, pop a little bit, and people know what they're expecting from it. I think the only way that I'm going to be able to get people to understand what this journal's about and what it is by me actually speaking about it. And this is not something I'm very comfortable with doing. So I think I've always been good at telling other people like what you should do. You should tell your story. You should do this, this, and this. But for me, I'm not that confident to be able to do that. And this has pushed me outside of my comfort zone. So the beginning of my reset, when I started the Reset Journal, once it got published on Amazon, was one of the things is I want to public speak and I want to be able to get on podcasts to talk about this. And I had to step outside my comfort zone with that. So I've already achieved one of them goals for my 90 days now. So I'm probably going to have to set myself another challenge.
Yeah. No, good. Well, no, because I think you are very articulate and you're very good at explaining it. You obviously know it inside out because you've written it, you've published it, and it means something to you. So this is what you need to do. Is it doesn't have to be in-person events. It could be in-person events, but this obviously it's going out on video. It's going out LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. It'll go out on all the podcast platforms. It'll be a blog as well with links back to your websites and how people can buy the book as well. So in one hit, you're gonna reach a lot of people. I think a lot of people will be aware of it. And
even to this day, like there's not even many like people who even know me really well that know about this Reset Journal. It's something I've sort of like kept like sort of ironically, you should really be sort of pushing it out there. So this is the very, very first time that I've ever like sort of pushed anything other than running sponsored links on Amazon, which has obviously generated sales in the US and in the UK.
Exciting.
But as far as me actually speaking about it, like this is the very first time. I think I might put 1 or 2 posts out, but again, it's not something I haven't said it's directly me.
Okay, well, exciting. Well, I'm honoured that this is the first
name on the back of it, and I'm like, well, name is inside of it, but I'm not that type of person. Do you know?
Because it's not. I like that though, that it's not necessarily about you. It's about the systems and the frameworks inside it, and it's, there'll be some. We'll talk a bit about the different types of journals in a minute, but there's certain people who are like famous people who have a journal associated with them or products associated with them. And some people will just be buying them because it's that person. And I've got no idea if it's any good or not what they're selling, but people are just drawn to that celebrity or that sort of halo effect. They think, oh, if I've got something by that person, then I'll become a little bit like them. But I like it that you've created something that, yes, you're the creator and you deserve a lot of credit for that, but ultimately, it's me, it's the reader, it's whoever's doing it, it's about them.
That's whose journal is it's your journal. Like at the end of the day, you get this journal, you write in the center of it. This is your journal, it's not mine, it's yours.
Well, look, today, so I went through it because you've got a page or 2 pages for each day of the week, and the final day on the Sunday is like a weekly reflection.
Yeah.
But so I just got this on Thursday, and then I just started it today. So I read through it last night, and then I started it today. But my focus for today, when it was like, if there's only one thing you complete a day, it's enough. What's the one action today that'll make the biggest difference? So I actually put, well, I said being prepared for the LinkedIn Live podcast interview with Mike Bell, and E plus R equals O. I said LinkedIn Live podcast interview, and how will you choose to respond? I put being fully present and focused. That's what I want. I wanted to be really ready for this. And what outcome do you want? I was like, being in the zone and bringing out the best in Mike and me.
Thank you,
This is my number one focus for today. I mean, I've got lots of other things to do later today, but this was what I thought was the most important thing to do today. So yeah, thank you. We'll talk about the other journals. If a bit was said there. How is yours different, or what? How do you think it compares to other things that are on the market?
Right. So I've bought quite a few journals in my time to try and keep me focused and keep me on the right track. I always start like the year or whatever, or when something big happens, or I win a contract or whatever. I'm like, right, this is the focus. I need to do this, and it got me to a point of where I was like buying journals just for the sake of buying them. Because I was reading the reviews on Amazon that worked for somebody else. But the thing is about the reset isn't a motivational journal. Like majority of the ones that I'd seen were motivational, and I don't know about you, but I don't really have like a lot of coloring pens in my desk drawer, or like crayons. And I remember like I bought a couple of well-known, well-selling products, and inside of the products it was like, fill this hard with how you're feeling today, and like color it into to where you're feeling. And I suppose for some people that might really work. I suppose for some people they might want to read positive quotes every single day. The thing about positive quotes is that without any action, they're pointless. So we can read as many positive or write down as many as we want, but unless you've got any action, that's pointless. So when I started to write the reset like 18 months ago, I keep saying that number because it's the one that sticks in my head, is that when I started writing it, I had like 30 pages full of like quotes because I was copying off what other people were doing, and that's what I thought people wanted. But then when I was looking at it, I was looking and thinking, the main thing about this journal is what I'm trying to do is get people to cut out the noise. The noise is what's important. That's what's the killer of it all. So I thought, if I'm filling the pages are full of noise, I'm selling. It's almost like do what I say, not what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like. And I was just like, right, that needs to go. That needs to go. And then I like sort of put the journal on a diet. So basically I shrank down everything that needed to be shrank. And I was like, right, this needs to get out there. So then I sent it to the guy who does some things for me, like as in digital designs. I sent it to him, and then he started adding in like more and more details. And I was, no, you're getting the wrong idea of what it's supposed to be. So then I just doing it myself, you know, and just putting it together myself, and thought, right, let's get it out there, get it printed on demand. Once it's onto Amazon, I've got a physical copy in my hands. Yes, there's probably things inside of the journal I might want to change into a different edition or whatever later on, but at this moment in time, I think it's pretty much where it needs to be. It does what it's supposed to do. And one of the other things is that, unlike the other journals where you're writing pages and pages of like information, this one is purposely 2 lines, you know, like it's purposely like that. It's like, focus on this one thing that's important to do. And I didn't want any colouring in stuff or anything like that. And one of the other things is inside at the beginning of the instructions of how to use the journal is that if you miss a day, it's fine. Just move on and just get the next day out of the way, because sometimes we do forget, sometimes we do get too busy, but I don't want the journal to be like sort of somebody's like ball and chain, you know, like it needs to keep them on a track and keep you on an alignment, because is it 28 days or it's 28 days, isn't it, to break a habit? That's what the saying is, isn't it? I think that by doing these daily tasks and these short these short sort of principles, like sticking to them daily, it adds a compound effect, and that compound effect then retrains the brain. It's almost like exercise, you know. It's like that repetitiveness. So like even the days, so the days it will go from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and what it is there's only 3 formats. There's only A, B, and C, and then that will just repeat throughout the week. The reason that I done it like that is because I needed to have muscle memory. I was trying to add muscle memory to people's brains by not having each page totally different from the next. It needed to ask the same questions, just in a different way.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, there's talking about habit forming as well. I'm interested in all that sort of stuff, and it's okay to, like you say, miss a day, maybe 2 days, but if you're missing more than that, then you're forming a new habit there.
Yeah, sure.
So it is okay to just not do something, as long as you get back on track, which your journal will definitely help with. Yeah, and like a lot of people talk about journaling, and I mentioned before when live about stoicism and philosophy. There's a lot of, like, throughout history, people who talk about journaling. You could swap the word journaling for diary, having a diary. Like, there's a lot of people who just love writing a diary, and it helps them gather their thoughts, and it's that being really thoughtful about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and might not be for anyone else, it's just for their own records and reflections. But when I've tried journaling where it's just been blank pages, empty notebooks, or even nice notebooks or whatever, I've found that difficult, and because it's too open-ended, and never known, should I do it in the morning, should I do it at the end of the night? And what I've found when I've been journaling on an evening, and I haven't done it this way for a long time, I tend to dwell on negative things. I talk about what hasn't gone right rather than what has gone right. That's why I stopped doing it, because I was like, I'm just having a moan here. I'm just like whinging on and complaining about things that didn't go my way. And that's not me. I want to be more positive and forward thinking, and things will go wrong. That's fine. It's how I respond to it. And and then there's another one I told you, I got given as a present, Christmas present, which I do quite like, but I think I do prefer yours, right? But I'm not to say that, but the way they've done it, it does have a lot of motivational, inspirational quotes.
Yeah.
It's not as open-ended, but there's still a bit of work to go in, and that was putting me off when I first got it. I was just like, oh, this just seems too much effort to get going.
Exactly what I was feeling as well. So,
but once I got into it, it was good. But even so, yours is much easier and simpler, deliberately to fill out. So I am gonna
switch
to it. I'm gonna well I think I'm gonna do them. So it's different. I think the other one is more like end of day reflections.
Yeah.
Whereas yours is like first thing in the morning. I think for me anyway, I'm gonna do it first thing in the morning, and either early evening or late evening. I'm not quite sure when I'm gonna do it, but and I've even this morning I put it before I went to bed last night. I put it down on the kitchen table next to where I have my breakfast, so it was there ready for me to use.
I think one of the other things is, as well as I want to get across, is that the way that Amazon works, I can't retarget anybody, because obviously the way Amazon, you print on demand, so pretty much as soon as it's been ordered, you get it delivered within days. And then after you've had it delivered, I don't collect them details. So I don't collect your email address or anything else. I can't retarget anybody, or I can't get people to sort of leave reviews, which is the important part. So hopefully Amazon will then start pushing on for them reviews, because majority of us buy things based on what other people say about them. So one of the things I was going to say to you is, I'm really excited about this bit, because I want to see that where you are in the next in the next 30 days. Do you know what I mean? Or even in the next 2 weeks or whatever. And it's like, see if you're still doing the journal, which I'm assuming that you still will be. But one of the things is that I want to try and add some real testimonials to how the journal has helped somebody. Because
Mhm.
for me, that's the most important part. It's not about selling journals and making £4 or £3 on a journal or whatever. Do you know, like that's not the thing for me. I think that the main thing is it's about reaching people who need the help and need a little bit of guidance. And
Mhm.
I think that's the thing, is because it needs to be other people that's telling other people what difference it's made to them.
Yeah, yeah,
Not me telling you how good I think it is. It's like you telling me what it's done for you and how it's helped you.
yeah.
That's you in the
Well,
same way.
people are always looking for that, aren't they? Like, I mean, there's some strange people in the world, including me, who will just try something just because they're interested, and then they don't need someone else to tell them that it's
Yeah.
good. They're just curious and they want to try new things out. But most people need someone to go first, or to tell them about it, or to show them how they've used it, or that was it like social proof or whatever you want to call it, where it's like if
Look,
people see us talking about this, or they hear me saying I'm using it and I'm holding up the book, and like some people will be like, oh well, if Paul's doing it, then I'll take a closer look. Just
yeah,
like if you get other people who have a bit of an audience or a bit of a network of people who are interested in this sort of thing, if you get them talking about it, or being seen using it, and photos of them on social media, that will help definitely. But you're ultimately going to be the best person to talk about it and promote it.
saying this, mate, but we'll see.
So yeah, so I mentioned it before as well about which you weren't aware of, but I think you've accidentally, or maybe have subliminally, picked up on some of this. But a lot of the ideas in it really resonated with me and some of the things that I'm into, because the ancient Greek philosophy called Stoicism, which some of the Roman emperors followed, or famous leaders throughout history have followed this. But it really relates to cutting out the noise and getting really clear and focused on your own thoughts and what it is you want to achieve. And then it's not to be unemotional, but it's to decide how you respond, if at all, to some external event or situation. So definitely the bits where you talk about E plus R equals O.
Yeah.
You want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so the E plus R equals O bit is something that I read in a book called Sumo, which is one of my favorite books, actually. It's a guy called Paul McGee. And he talks about a few different principles, but this one is the thing, the E plus R equals O is something that it definitely helped me in my life, because I think that obviously when you're younger, or even to this day, there's certain things that happen in your life that you've responded in a way, and then when you get the outcome of it, you're not really happy about it. So I think that when I read that book and I was reading like certain parts of it, there was that stuck out with inside. So anyone who I ever like, I always tell them about that E plus R equals O equation, because at the end of the day, like things happen, shit happens in the world that you just can't, that's out of your control. Whether or not, like I say, it's in business, it's a relationship, or whatever, there's something that will happen on a daily basis that that just happens, and there will be an outcome. We can't really control there's going to be an outcome. We just know that there's going to be an outcome. So the only thing we can have control over is the response. So if we want a better outcome from whatever's happened, is that we've got to have a better response. And I think by taking that better responses, is just sometimes it can be a pause and reflect. You know, like, let's think about the situation. How can I change this? What do I want from this situation? I think that's the main thing, is figuring out what it is that you want. Where it becomes cloudy and difficult is that if you've got an emotional connection to the event, then that's when your response then takes a lot more control. But either way, the more you practice it, the better you become at doing it. Like anything, whether or not it's with weights or running, you become better at it no matter what, by practice. And I honestly think that for me, that's probably the two biggest things that has been a turning point, but also not just for me, but like other people who I've worked with, like by taking accountability and taking them things into account and looking at what's important for that day or that month or whatever. That's one thing. And then looking at shit happens, how do I deal with it? Like them two things are the most important principles.
Well, that's one of the key things in Stoicism, is that like ultimately bad things will happen. People will say and do things that you're not happy with, but you are in control of how you react, if at all. And I think that's where a lot of stress comes, when people are trying to control the outcome. They're trying to control the situation, and they can't control what other people say and do. They can only control what they think and do. So so event plus reaction equals outcome.
Well, response.
Response, sorry. So being really mindful and thoughtful with your response. It's easier said than done, because we are emotional creatures, and sometimes things happen and you will just react. But I think that's it. If you react unconsciously, then it can be a quick reaction that isn't necessarily the right or the best reaction. And definitely, I think when you're tired, if you're tired and you're stressed, you're going to react differently to if you're calm and relaxed and taking a pause.
I totally agree, mate. I think that this is one of the things, isn't it, in life, is that even from being a kid or whatever, and you're at school, like, we don't learn about these things. We just, all we're there to learn is whatever's in the textbook. Do you know what I mean? And it's these things that you learn later on in life that you pass down. But sometimes, if you're not around the right people, because that's what shapes you at the end of the day, if you're not around the right people, mate, like, I don't know. I think for me is that you grow later on in life when you start being around a certain group of people that want the best for you, or you want to achieve a certain thing. I think that sometimes we're not all given them opportunities, and I think that's one of the things, is that growing up, like I grew up with like a rough estate and things like that, you know, when I was a kid, and I could have easily gone down another path. Do you know what I mean? Very easily. I with the wrong people or the right people or whatever. And I just think that you meet certain people along the way, they leave a mark on you, and then you learn, you're constantly moving forward. So that's why this is important, and that's why the unlock key potential thing is important. And obviously people can learn a little bit more about that by going to my website or whatever. But I mean, that they are important to me.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about that in a moment. Definitely, I think the being careful who you surround yourself with, and who you listen to, and what books you read, and what TV you watch, and who you follow on social media, and all that sort of stuff has a massive influence on you. And I know, like, obviously when you're a kid, when you're growing up, you are trying to fit in. You're trying to fit in with your peer group and your friends or people at school. But then as you get a bit older, so when you're trying to fit in as you're growing up as a teenager or at school or whatever, and then it's when you get older, you maybe think you're not so bothered about that. You're trying to, so it's like external validation you're looking for early on, and then your internal validation, and as you get older.
Comes with experience, so mate, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I know, like, when I was at school, I was always I had bad kids who were mates and good kids that were mates. I was always like in the middle, and I was just friends with everyone, right? But I was definitely didn't do anything like really bad, but like, a little bit naughty, like knocking on, like, very innocent sort of stuff, like knocking on people's doors and egging people's windows and stuff like that, right? Nothing serious, right? But definitely. So two of my friends went to prison.
Right.
Armed robbery. One of them murder. he then ended up getting killed. So they were like two of my best mates growing up, and there was definitely a point where I could have we diverged. You know, it was like we had a big falling out, and from that point onwards, I never hung out with them anymore. If I saw them, I would say hello, but that was it. It was like, right, we're not.
I think for me though, mate, I think when it comes to situations like that, it's like it's really difficult to sort of to navigate yourself away. You've got to like sort of, because these things happen in small increments. You know, it's like I said to you about like exercise, using like the framework of this is like sort of brain exercise. The more that you do it, the better it becomes. But like I was going to say there about like the people that you surround yourself with, it's very rarely that you put yourself into a situation where you go straight on into like high crime. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a gradual effect. So anyone that's ever been involved in sort of crime or anything like that, or with the wrong circle of people in the wrong place at the wrong time, majority of these people, they've come into this in small entry levels. They haven't gone straight into it. Like
well, they didn't. Like those two friends of mine didn't. It was just like little minor petty things, and then it's just built up over time, and then
exactly. And I think that's the thing for me is it's like the mentors, the people that you work with, the people that you surround yourself with, all of them people all make a difference and all contribute a certain aspect or a part of your life, and that makes a difference. So like for me, if I can offer anybody any advice, I want to be one of them people, but the good people. Do you know? I want to be able to give people some advice or learn some of the things that I've fucked up or failed on. Do you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, it isn't easy. None of it's easy, and I think that a lot of like the people that you obviously help, because obviously a lot of the people that you obviously help and speak to on a daily are sort of, they're either coming into business or in the very first early years of business. And I think that people, when they come into business, they have this big expectation that it's going to be all easy, or they've got this idea and they're going to execute it, and now they're going to be rich, or they're going to be working from home or doing whatever it is that they think they're going to be doing. But in actual fact, it's all about a pivot point. So I think for me, is failure is your best friend. It's just that you just got to learn how to fail better. So once you fail, then dust yourself off, learn from that. Don't repeat the same process, and keep on going and just building on that, having a compound effect. Because to this day, I can't. Well, I've lost the amount. I can't count the amount of times I've failed because I've run out of fingers and toes. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, it's like failure is just one of them things that you just got to accept in business. But accountability, focusing on what's important and focusing on what needs to be done that particular day, they're the most important things I could say. Is that structure is the most important.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Definitely. There's a lot of people talk about how failure is just feedback. You know, if something's not working, then you just got to try a different approach or stop something altogether. So you probably, people don't seem to talk about it much these days, but have you heard of the book The Lean Startup by Eric Ries? No, so it came out in.
It's another one I'm gonna have to put in my notes.
And I put in there. I love recommending the book, but it came out in.
Oh, you're not recommending?
No, it's very good. It came out in 2012, I think, by this guy. A lot of it's to do with Silicon Valley tech startups, but it became a bit of like the Bible for tech startup founders. But it's all about lean startup principles, where it's old traditional ways of developing software would be you would come up with an idea, you would lock yourself in a room, you would build it, develop it, and then you go ta-da, and the world goes, well, it's all right, but like I like that, but I don't like that, and it's not really what I wanted, sort of thing. But the lean startup, sort of lean agile development, is small little iterations, little experiments, like 2-week sprints where you develop a little feature and launch it, and then if it works, you do more of it, and if it doesn't, you kill it off or do less of it. But that really resonated with me when I read it. And at the time, I was working for a big software company that was trying to get their SaaS products working, which weren't really taken off. So we approached more of a like lean startup principles to that, and it definitely made a difference. And then when I left to start my own business, I even used these lean startup principles for my own business and for creating the first big startup week event, like the 5-day multi-venue event. Small little experiments, little iterations. If people like it, do more, and if they don't, do less. And that can be in anything. Could be I would have an idea and I would talk to someone about it, and if their eyes lit up, I'd be like, all right, I'm onto something here. Or even the words I was using, if certain words and phrases were working, I would do more of it, and if it wasn't, I would stop. And just that constant feedback is helped me get to what I'm.
I think that's definitely what's important. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, mate, I think that you're doing a fantastic job and working with. I think putting all of your experience and things like that into all of the things that you've learned and all of the failures that you've had in life, in business, or whatever. By doing that, you've got a lot to offer these people that you're actually working with, and I think that makes a big difference because, again, it's a compound effect. Yeah, I mean, obviously, at this moment in time, that I said this to you before, like, where do you want to be with a podcast, or what's the big goal with it all? But at the minute, obviously, it's not one of the most well-known podcasts, but that compound effect, I'm sure, by having the right guests on, speaking about the right things, and adding in your experience and the style that you've got, this like sort of how do I say it? It's like me and Gary were on about this the other day. Like we were saying about like probably one of your greatest assets is like how calm you are when you're chatting. Do you know, like it's just like you have an instant like calming feel to put people at ease.
Good.
We were on about that just like the other day when he found out obviously I was coming on here, and I said I'll mention it before because obviously I'd said exactly the same thing. I said that you had exactly that type of calming thing, which is what you need, I think, because it's easier to be able to sort of get your point across. I think for people like me, it's definitely helps because my brain's working at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and here's I'm speaking to you now. I've got 1,000,000 things going on in my brain that I want to talk about, and I'm thinking I might have already said that. I've already said this bit. Don't think about that bit. So as I'm speaking to you, there's 1,000 things going on at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just, even if that is going on with you, you don't ever show it. Do you know what I mean?
No, good. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. No, it's I think it's yeah, a few people have said similar things before, and it's yeah, it's definitely something that helps me. I think bring out the best in other people, and that and myself. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not. You know, I do help a lot of people start and grow their own business. I've done that for a long time, over 25 years now, in different roles as well as my own business. But I'm not the sort of person to be like, oh yeah, everyone should start a business. It's dead easy. Go for it. Like there's a lot of people do that. I'm much more like, look, if this is really what you want to do, yeah, you can make it happen. But like go into it with your eyes wide open, and it's going to be difficult, but you can do it. Just like I'll try and guide you through it, or I'll find people that can help you get to where you want and fulfill your potential. But also there's some people who it's just totally wrong for them to do it. And but once you talk to them and get them clear on what they're doing, they realize that. And I think that's still a successful outcome for those people.
We're all just very different, mate. We're all just very different. And I think that's what makes it all work.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about the so you got your book, obviously the Reset Journal, and you can get that from Amazon, but they can also go to resetjournals.com.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit more about the Unlock Key Potential?
Yeah, so the Unlock Key Potential is like something, it's an idea that originally I was wanting to bring like-minded people together who's interested in helping people create something, like cutting out the noise, putting structure into a business. And that was the idea behind it all. But then over the last sort of couple of months, I've been looking at, essentially that's me, the Unlock Key Potential part. Everything else, I felt as if that everything I've got going on around, it felt as if all of these like sort of things were like sort of splitting me off into a million different directions. And the unlock key potential thing is something that has now become sort of like the way that it's been worded. If anyone ever goes to the website, is it's personal about me. You know what I mean? And it's about talking about like how I failed in certain things, and how putting structure, and most businesses feel like they need more noise, like more places to shout from, more ads, more ad spend or whatever. But realistically, we need is structure, and I think that that's the main thing. And I think that if we can add some of that structure with automation, and we can automate, I don't mean like having a business that is automated and it runs itself. I don't mean that at all, because I think that's where a lot of people think that AI is like, oh, I've got AI in my business now, and like that's it. I don't have to do anything. I can sit back and on the beach, and my business now just makes me money, and it just doesn't work like that. But what I mean is by using frameworks and using structure, you can add things that go on to your business to take away some of them daily tasks that you'd normally have to focus on, that it's not really part of your daily structure, but it automates a lot of them processes, like following up to emails. Like majority of sales are lost at the first interaction. So like we run like a leads campaign, as in general, I'll say any business, they run a leads campaign or whatever on Facebook, or they run a Facebook ad, and then realistically we don't follow back up with our customer, or we don't get back to them on time, or we don't give them the right information, or the ad doesn't correlate with what the follow-up is. We lose them people straight away. So by having frameworks in place, it's like you've explained something earlier about an artist, like regardless of how big the picture is, there's still a borderline, and the artist has to stay between the canvas. And I think that that's exactly the same when it comes to frameworking. So it's what's important is focusing on what's important, focusing on the follow-up, and focusing on the things that the customer wants to see or the client, and that we can do as a business. And that's what the unlock key potential thing is. It's like it's adding them things in together. But yeah, initially it started off as I wanted to create it as like a few different people getting together with the same goal, same vision. Let's help some people and see how many people we can help. And yeah, there would have been a mentorship program or whatever, like with people who were more experienced than me with certain aspects of business. We could have had somebody in there who's better at SEO, or somebody in there who's better at paid ads, or someone who can help you create video content or whatever it might be. But realistically, the whole thing is about helping people. That's the goal.
Love it. Yeah. So it's potentially create a collective of people who think similarly, or and the hook, not just from a marketing or sales hook, is the journal. You know, that's probably the thing that people will be drawn to, or they'll be drawn to you and the way you think in. And then you've got the other elements which are important to definitely business owners or leaders, is around the technology and the systems and the processes, because every business that's grown to be significant has got good systems and processes in place. And a lot of small business owners that I know and meet, and including myself, like we're limited what we can do and how big we can grow if we don't have good systems and processes in place, which you can help with from that is your bread and butter. That's what you do, as well as the journal. And
yeah, I mean, for me, like I've worked in all different types of businesses, from sort of landscaping, I suppose, like to sort of machinery sales and things like it. So anything from sort of like I've run website, I've run done for you ads for gyms, I've run done for you ad services for like meal prep people. Like, it doesn't make any difference what it is. The structure is still the same. The framework is still the same. We've got a client, we need to get a message across. How do we respond to that client? Who is that perfect client that we need to find? Why are they a good fit for us, and why are we a good fit for them? And I think that once you've answered them questions, the rest of it is, we're not trying to sell somebody something that they don't need. Do you know what I mean? We're basically trying to sell something that they do need or they do require. And I think that cuts out a lot of the noise. Like, yeah, I mean, it's funny because like even though every business is so different, from whether or not you run an ECO4 campaigns for that types of funding, or whether you're running ads for a local gym for memberships or taster sessions, like the framework still remains the same regardless of the ad. Do you know, like, what does that customer want? What are they expecting to see, and how can we follow up with them? I think that they're the bits that make the difference. It's like anything from sort of landscape gardeners who are running like Facebook pages and they've got the phone number on there and they have a separate website and they're not following up to emails for quotes and things. It's like taking away that framework and just adding in a simple web page with a follow-up. It's just it just takes away all of that pain. Do you know what I mean? From not just from the customer's point of view, but like the potential client's point of view, but the actual end user as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think that's for me is the bit that I find really interesting. Like, I like solving problems at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that, and you can see that in the journal as well, because your experience running that business and working with other businesses and clients feeds into the journal, and the journal feeds into the way you operate as well. And definitely with sales, it's all about the follow-up. Like if you don't follow up in the right way or within the right time frame, you've lost the sale. Or if the interaction is all wrong, the way people are expecting it, and there's definitely a lot of time gets wasted, doesn't it, back and forth, or not soon enough, or sitting in someone's email inbox and they go on holiday, or they're off ill, or they just forget, or they get busy doing other things. But you're helping people stay focused, and you know, you are helping them save time and effort and to deliver on what they want.
I think it's understanding what it is that the customer wants. Like, so if I'm running an ad campaign for you, for argument's sake, and we say, right, who do we want on there? What is an ideal client or potential client look like to you? Then understanding what it is that person wants, so then we can market them in a certain way. We're not trying to sell them something. We're basically trying to gather some information so that we can answer the questions in the right way at the right time. I know that one of the things that stands out to me now, like even this day when I was doing it for like a food prep company, is that rather than just selling like packages, I was like, why do the customers come here? Like, why is, I'm going to use the name Brenda, why does Brenda want to, why does she want to buy these meal preps? Is it because she wants to lose weight? Is it because that she wants to get her on a fitness plan? Is she going on a summer holiday? She's got a wedding coming up. Find out a little bit more about the customer, so then that we can bring them along the journey, so that we're not trying to just sell them a product. We're trying to actually understand them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's trying to take away them sort of the pain points, like finding out what is the biggest thing that when you're working with an energy company, for argument's sake, you're doing them, I was doing these before grants, is that what's taken a lot of this time up? Like, what part of this process when we're getting these leads in wastes a lot of time? How can we condense that to make sure that the leads that come through are going into the right category? And I think for me that's the most important.
Yeah,
the most important thing for me.
No, definitely. There's a lot of the guy I know who talks a lot about psychology-based marketing. So it's like you gave a good example there. Why are people going changing their food, their eating habits, or why are they going to the gym or whatever? It's not necessarily just because they want to eat that food or go to the gym. It's because they're getting married next summer, or they've had a health scare. It could be all those reasons. If that's the reason, that's what you need to be in your messaging.
Yeah.
And you're providing the solution that's going to help them get to what they want. So yeah, no, very, very good.
It's like, even if you work with a landscape gardener or a builder or whatever, you know, like, you can run all of these lead gen ads, but if somebody's not ready to buy and they're ready to get the garden done in 6 months, or like, one of the first questions I would ask is, when are you ready to go ahead with this? Like, is it in the next 6 months, or are you just looking for a price? Because then the builder, like my actual client, can get back to these in a timely manner. So I can say that this is an automated process. Paul needs a quote, but he's not ready to do anything in the next 6 months, just literally looking for a quote. Or Paul has got a party coming up and he's wanting to have people around his house. he's desperate. He wants something doing right now.
Yeah. It could be a big party, it could be a big birthday or a celebration, or they might have kids.
It's understanding that urgency of when somebody is ready to qualify, and I think that's the thing for me, is it's trying to make sure that you're doing it at the right time. It's all about time.
Mm-hmm.
80-20, mate, again, like I said.
It's all the 80-20, right? Well, Mike, I love it. I think you've produced something really excellent. Like, genuinely love what you've done there, and I think it's going to help. Well, I think it's going to help me, but I think it's going to help a lot of people if they buy it and start using it. So thank you again for. Well, thank you for doing it, but thank you for getting in touch and saying that you wanted to talk.
Thanks for having me on, mate, because like I said, the other day when we were just having a chat, I was like, I'm too nervous for this, man. I'm good at giving people advice. I'm good at telling people what they should be doing, but I'm not that good at doing it myself.
Well, I think you are. I think you like listen back to this. I think you'll be happy with.
I can't stand the sound of my own voice, mate.
I always listen back. I always, like, when I'm driving, I listen back to the podcast, and you will. If you do make yourself listen to it, I think you'll be pleased with what you hear, and don't be afraid to share it. Share the video, share the podcast with others, because people need to know about it, and it will help. So it's not just about you; it's about how it's going to help. Great, thank you very much. Okay, cheers, Mike.
Thank you very much for your time. Cheers, bye.
See you. Bye.